Hello, all, and welcome back to Black Girl Magic Book Chat Women's History Month edition. We are in week 3. I'm Larissa, the African American Resource Center Coordinator for the Tulsa City County Library, and in March, all month, I am reading to you books in an effort to highlight stories, the various stories about or by Black women and girls. This week, I've got a romantic comedy for you. So romances can be a little bit polarizing. Some people absolutely love them. They read them all the time. Some people think that they are a little bit contrived and a little bit cheesy or super tropey. I'm in the former camp. I enjoy romance novels. I enjoy the camp. I enjoy the tropes, the cheese, if you will. Because sometimes I just like a real low key book, especially when I'm in school and I'm reading like heavy material for class. So I really do enjoy them. But that's actually not why I chose to include a romantic comedy in my series of books this month. Romance, believe it or not, is one of the highest sold genres of books. Like, it is one of the most popular genres of books because the people who like romance novels will buy them. But of that, only about 12% of romance novels are written by BIPOC authors. And if you don't know, BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color. And that's lumping all non white authors in together, right? So, of the books published, only about 12% of them are by non white authors. So, I'm not even actually sure of the percentage of just Black African American authors, right? So, when I say that I want to tell all of the stories, I want to make sure that all of the stories get told. And so, um, this is a romantic comedy, and I wanted to make sure I shared that too because love stories should be told as well. And it was a feel good story. And sometimes we just deserve to read something that makes us feel a little fuzzy. So, off my soapbox. So last week I read The Partner Plot, and I'm gonna try to show it. So I read it on my Kindle. We do have the book in the library. You can't see the cover that well on this computer because I read it on my Kindle on my iPad. Um, it's called The Partner Plot by Kristina Forest. Um, we do have it in the library. Like I said, I'm always reading something that we have available or will be made available at the library, so you can check them out if you like them. Um, so this book, The Partner Plot, it's the second in a series, but it's what's considered a standalone. So even though the characters repeat, you don't necessarily have to read one before you read the other. However, I did read the other one last year, and it was very cute. Um, so I recommend it. Kristina Forest is the author's name. All right, let's get into it. So, the partner plot follows Violet and Xavier. Their story starts when they meet at the start of the 11th grade. He's the new kid, and Violet, by this point, she's bored of all the boys in her high school. So when this new kid comes, she's intrigued by him. He's a basketball player with college scouts already offering him scholarships and trying to get him to go to their schools. And he's got plans to go pro. He's great, and the people want him. So that's his vision. Violet is into fashion. She loves fashion. She wants to go to fashion school. She wants to become a stylist to the stars. So they kind of bond over this want to get out. They live in New Jersey, kind of a small town in New Jersey. And so their goals are going to get them out of their city. And so they say they bond over that, like, okay, we're destined for bigger things. We're gonna do this together. We're gonna support each other, push each other for our dreams, that sort of thing. They are a sort of on and off couple that like sometimes high schoolers tend to be, but they make it through. And after graduation, they're off to their dream schools. And then Xavier breaks his leg. I can't exactly remember the injury, sorry. But he is injured in a way that he cannot play for his school anymore. And so he's defeated. And in that defeat, he breaks up with Iris. Cue present day, which is like 11 years later. So then the story picks up again, some 11 years later or so. Violet is a stylist to the stars. She's living in New York City. She's traveling to LA and Milan and Paris and, all those fashion spots all of the time. A lot of the people that she works with are artists, which is kind of where LA comes in, are artists, musical artists. And so she's always, getting them ready for award shows and music videos, et cetera, et cetera. So she's doing it. Um, so she's doing it, but she just dumped her ex fiance who had been caught publicly cheating on her. So her life feels great, with the exception of that. Xavier, on the other hand, is feeling a bit stuck. He never made it pro because he ended up going back to school, to another school after his injury, and playing ball still, but couldn't make it pro. So now he's back in that town in New Jersey teaching 11th grade, I think 11th grade, teaching English, and is the assistant coach for the basketball team. So he's feeling a little bit stuck, right? Because he was like, I'm going pro, I'm doing this thing, and he's not. So this is where we're at. In typical romance twist, they see each other again after more than a decade in Vegas, of all places. And what happens in Vegas in a romance novel? They wake up married. Um, so through a series of circumstances, Violet finds herself with a broken leg, and she's staying at Xavier's house while she mends, and they're pretending to be married for career purposes. Her purpose is she kind of was in an interview and they asked her about her cheating ex, so she was like, "No, I'm happily married to my high school sweetheart," and so she just said it, and it's now kind of she's stuck with it. And Xavier, in an effort to appear more stable to a potential job, he needs this marriage because marriage apparently makes you seem stable. Um, so that's kind of what our book. That's kind of where our story starts to move, where you see these two characters meet again and learn each other again and fall in love again and all of that. One of my favorite things though about a lot of romance novels, and it's not just the romance, I do like that, but it's a lot of times I like to see how the characters grow over the course of a book, because no one's life is just all romance, right? So Violet is dealing with being at the top of her game. She's been hustling to make a name for herself in her industry since she left high school. And so now she's 27, 28. She's almost where she wants to be, except she's not quite enjoying what she's doing. And she's still enjoying the fashion, but sort of that hustle and bustle, that go, 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 it's starting to take its toll on her. um, she barely sleeps. The near constant travel is starting to take its toll. And she's sort of realizing how unconducive her life is to cultivating relationships outside of the professional ones. She's really good friends with some of her clients, but they're still they're friends, but she's met them through work, and so it's easy to maintain those relationships because they are work friends, right? And so outside of that, she's got siblings. She's got two sisters. Her parents, the that's kind of all in her circle, and she doesn't get to see them very much because she's always working. Xavier is applying to work at a college, the college he actually ended up going to after his injury, because he thinks it's a better fit. It's a little bit more what's the word? I can't think of it, but it makes him look better. I think, in his mind at least, that I coach college ball, not high school ball. There's something a little bit um, more. There seems to be more successful if you can say, "Oh yeah, I coach for a college team," as opposed to I coach for a high school team. Um, and he wants to do this, even though he really likes the basketball team he coaches. He likes the kids there. He likes the work that he's doing, even though he really likes teaching English in 11th to the kids, and even though he hates the head coach at the college. He is like, well, That is the thing that's going to make me successful. And on top of that, now that he and Violet are dating or pretending to be together, he's falling in love with her again and thinking, hey, she's this big name. She's this famous person. And I can't be the one for her if my job is merely high school coach. Which, as a former teacher, there's no merely in teaching school. So these two have to navigate career and outside life while realizing what their own dreams actually are. And I like how this book brings up how work can drive people and become their lives. I'm a firm believer in work-life balance, okay? Work is important in that it is necessary for us to pay our bills. And sometimes our work, our careers can fill a need both externally and internally. I love the work that I do. I know y'all have heard me say that. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, I say it all the time. I really, really enjoy my job, but I really, really enjoy leaving it too. Right. And so I think that work life balance is so important, even if you have a job that motivates you and motivates other people. Um, but the people in our lives, right, are just as important. The experiences that we want to have are just as important. Downtime is just as important. And working at a job that'll make you miserable doesn't really seem worth it for some perceived level of success. Because if you wake up every day hating your job and the job that you spend 9 hours a day at, right, are you really successful? I don't think so. So this book did a lot of kind of talking about where is the place of careers in our life, and is it okay for our dreams to change? Xavier had this dream growing up of being a pro baller, and that didn't happen. And for a long time, he felt stuck in that until he realized that, hey, what I'm doing right now is actually really cool, and I like it, you know? And so I think sometimes we let our hopes and dreams keep us from what is for us, because we make those dreams, right, when we're 10, 11, 12, 13, 18, and you don't quite yet know what's going to fulfill you. And so that's okay to change, which is what I learned from this book. um, the book did end on a happy note because it's a romance, and that's kind of the like one of the classifications, like it has to be like a happy ending supposedly. So it did, but it was light. And then I also really like the characters. I think sometimes you get to romance books and the characters are not always decent. They're sometimes like mean, um and you kind of wrap some misogyny or some sort of verbal abuse or something in romance, and that's not true about all of them. But sometimes you read stuff and you're like, if this happened in real life, I'd be like, girl, run, you know? But I really did like these characters. They were good people, decent, kind. Because you don't know, like I said, you don't always get that. So that was the partner plot. Next up, I'm reading We Are Also Good at Smiling. Also want to see if I can show y'all this cover too, because it's pretty. So this is what I'm reading. This is actually on the Libby app. So definitely a library book. I'll be reading that this week, and I'll share that with you all next week. So I'll see y'all then.